Skulls? Forces of darkness? This isn't right. I was an altar boy, for the love of Pete, at St. Timothy's.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Sounds like some bad movie.
That's our cue.
Huh? What?
What? Huh? It all sounds like some bad movie.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic.
There's your video.
I don't know. You got it.
There.
I'm Scott.
There it is.
I'm Scott. That's Joey. And today we're reviewing the 1996 blockbuster
Piece of
hit.
shit. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
The Phantom.
Dude, I love the opening where you have video of him. It's like walk, 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 strafe.
Oh,
Walk, walk, walk.
If we're jumping, right to that.
I just wanted to point out that you had it, and I'm very happy that you did. Is all.
I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll get to that. That was.
That is absurd.
All right, this came out in 1996.
This is worse than I remember. Now remember, I mentioned last week, our friend Chris forced me to go see this in a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Come on, let's go." And I'm like, "I don't want to see this movie." He goes, "What else are you doing?" He probably bribed me with a cheeseburger at a diner. I don't know. It just he definitely wanted to see this, and I definitely did not.
I remember having no desire to see this. Now, where were we superhero film-wise at this point in time? 96.
96. Oh, my God. So, X-Men hadn't come out yet.
This is pre-Spider-Man.
This is pre-Spider-Man. This is pre-X-Men. X-Men came out in 2000. This is even pre-Blade, which came out in, 1998.
Oh, definitely pre-Blade, yeah.
So, but I'm getting at, like, Blade was a comic book, and if you want to, really kind of nitpick, we had Batman just a few years earlier. We had Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. We had that. We really didn't have much else. I mean, we had Ninja Turtles. We had Ninja Turtles.
We're basically at the bottom. Yeah, we're basically at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, we
were basically scraping bottom.
Scraping hardcore because comic book movies were pretty much all but dead. Batman, Ninja Turtles, Blade. That was kind of. It was like, okay, let's try it again. Let's try it again. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, let's try it again. It's just, it just wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't until X-Men came out in 2000, the year 2000, that everyone took notice and said, "Holy shit, they can make a good comic book movie." So and then that kind of kicked off. Then Spider-Man came out, and then we've had comic book movies multiple every year since. So, But yeah, this movie wasn't doing it because this is based on a 1930s serial comic.
Yeah, it was originally a comic strip, like a Sunday comic strip,
right?
And I think Lee Falk is the original writer. Yeah. So it was the original comic strips was the Phantom, Ghost Who Walks Cannot Die, and it's since been adapted into a film serial, comic books, a cartoon recently that I'd never heard of before called Phantom 2024.
Really?
He's been in both DC and Marvel comics, and this is like just another adaptation.
His rights have been bouncing around, I guess.
I guess something like that. Yeah, you can always get it's been on different it's been covered in different comic books. Different countries have had their own versions of it. It's just a long-standing iconic comic strip character.
This Phantom,
Golden Age, I guess.
This Phantom 2024, has that come out this year, or they just named it that?
No, that came out. I think it came out earlier. I forget. It was. I never. It just didn't look good either. I don't know.
So was it supposed to take place in the future?
I don't. It was in the future. Yeah. Yeah. It was in a dystopian future. Yeah. So it wasn't made like this year.
But still, I never heard of it.
haven't heard a lot of his stuff, so I wasn't surprised.
Man.
All right. Yeah, so and it's a fairly decent adaptation. They keep the origin story pretty much intact.
You can tell by the cheeky dialogue. It looked like they really They tried to see. Here's the problem: they really tried to probably stick true to the source material with how they acted, how they talked. It takes place in the 30s, and it's one of the biggest reasons why it's so. It's just corny. See, it's like Treat Williams is doing his real best, and I love Treat Williams. And at times I'm like, Treat, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? So
this is interesting.
What's that?
Because I watched the Siskel and Ebert review of this film while I was doing my research, and Siskel hated it and Ebert liked it.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I actually enjoyed it. But I will agree with you. The main point you just said is what I agree with you 100% and why it doesn't work as a film, why it's still technically bad, because it doesn't hit the mark, is that the source material is really just so antiquated and simplistic. It doesn't translate unless you do something like drastically different with it. And they did the opposite. They stayed faithful to a 1930s comic strip as much as they could, and it just doesn't work. It's like Doc Savage. It's why Doc Savage won't work. There are certain things that just don't translate to modern film.
Yeah, and it's at any point in time, I'm expecting Treat Williams to do the Charleston. I mean, it's ridiculous.
All right, well, I don't go that far. I thought Treat Williams did an excellent job, and I also think that the Zane Train did an excellent job.
Zane Train.
All aboard the Zane Train. Yeah, man. I thought they both did great jobs, and I even thought that, I thought they kind of patterned themselves as opposites as far as Billy Zane obviously has that, smooth, deep, sexy, smooth voice. So Treat went for that kind of whiny staccato. What a cheap jungle trick,
Right. Yeah, yeah. Even the way he delivered it and the way he, cocked his head, all of that.
Yeah. I thought they were both actually acting. I thought I didn't think either of them were walking through this film. And I also would give credit to the fact that they kept the costume basic. It's actually just it's a suit. You can see his skin under there. It's not. And
Billy Zane, he was in really good shape, or I'm sure he still is now, but he was in really great shape at the time, so he didn't need to do much to the costume, even with the giant padding on his dick. But I have to give. I think it was a brave thing to do when you consider all the superheroes previous to this. Were the heavily sculpted. Ever since the Flash and Batman, all the suits had the muscles sculpted into them, so they didn't have to bother trying to, actually look tough. And they went back to the old Superman thing. Yeah, put him in a skin tight costume, and he pulled it off too. I mean, both physically and acting wise. Well, what would have been funny in our opening is if you use the scene from Zoolander where Owen Wilson is talking to Ben Stiller and he just goes, you should listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool guy. In order for me to put that in there, I would have had to known that part, and I would have had to watch the film in order to know that part. I should have recommended it because I think it would have been it would have been funny. No, I'm only watching that as a challenge. That is not a recommendation. I'm not watching. You're just grabbing a scene from the movie. You're not watching the whole movie. I've got standards. I'm sorry. You got standards? Oh, yeah. How did this sneak in? Another watermarked picture. God damn it. I hate it because I go through it with a fine-tooth comb and I just don't catch everyone every time.
Don't dwell on it. Don't dwell.
I'm super annoyed by it.
I mean, I found myself not hating the film. I mean, all right, I really hated the opening.
Well, you know, I see that's the thing. I didn't hate the opening because it was like he's a kid, this happened, and now the Phantom. It was like it just got right to it, and I was good with that.
I was bad with it because, first of all, you don't start a film off by immediately making the audience think they missed something. You start the film with, for those who just walked in, immediately everybody's like, what the fuck did I miss? Right? And then they give an origin story that you don't need. It was definitely added on after the fact. This couldn't have been, if this was in the original screenplay, then God help them. Because it's explained in the film, everything that's explained in that beginning. But it's explained, gradually. So it's totally unneeded. 100% unneeded.
No, I listen, I get where you're coming from, but the fact that most of the time when they do this stuff, they over-explain things and they put in scenes that you don't need, and it was just this happened, the Phantom. I was good with it. It's probably because I didn't enjoy the film, so it's like let's get through this as quick as fucking possible.
I mean, after the whole bullshit character origin, even though this film covers the origin, but like after that whole origin bullshit, it starts the way it should have started, Indiana Jones style. Three ratty looking guys with a foreign kid, making wisecracks and driving through the jungle trying to find archaeological treasures to steal, or in this case specifically a silver skull.
Yeah, for Drax.
Yeah, and I thought, I mean, I got the wrong screen up, so I'm missing half of my page here. But Quill, the Quill character, I thought he was great. He was like the bad guy you kind of like.
It's James Remar. I mean, he's
great
in just about anything.
Yeah, exactly. So another guy. He's actually acting. He's putting it in. And I thought he was a believable character. It wasn't too wacky. Now, I was a bit thrown off when the skeleton choked the one guy to death.
Yeah.
Because at first
that
I was
skeleton just came to life. That's impossible. Tell that to Bob over here.
Yeah, tell the Bob. And then, that's the end of the discussion.
Yeah, they didn't go any further with it.
I got a feeling like the casualties aren't an uncommon thing in that little group there.
Yeah, right.
But so at first I was like, is that the Phantom behind? Okay, I guess we're going on the whole idea that like magic, mysticism is real, and they kind of sell that a bit more in the first act of the film. So I'm okay with that. Okay, so we're saying there are mystical things. It's not unusual. And especially when we're talking about like the Far East. I mean, that was a common trope in the 30s and 40s. The whole, England was taking over India, all this stuff. If you're a historian, don't yell at me. I'm not great with numbers.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I thought all that played well. Like when they pulled up when the first time you come to that British base, I didn't realize it was British. I was like, all right, so why is it jungle camp in English? And I think, oh, the Brits. That's why I forgot. Ooh, yeah, they taking things over.
Redcoats are coming.
Yeah, but I dug that. I will say though, I have seen better skull caves.
Oh well. See, that's the thing, too. I mean,
I laughed out loud when they showed that skull cave. I was like, that's the best you did for a skull cave? What, was this a rush job? Did no one tell you needed a skull cave?
Of course it was a rush job. See,
we're filming today? Yeah. We're filming that today?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, and the movie wasn't cheap. It
outside.
But it cost...
Let me just clarify. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
The outside. The inside I liked. I thought the set design was great and everything, but the outside was like, what the fuck is this? Sorry.
Well, I mean, the movie cost $45 million, so it was not a cheap film to make. And it's a good example. It's a good example of when things can get out of hand and aren't planned properly. So
it happens.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't happen with a potential summer blockbuster. They released it June 7th of 96 because they wanted that summer rush money. Kids are just are getting out of school or almost getting out of school, and they want everyone to to go into the theaters. Now, with that said, I think this movie, it made $23.5 million. It came out in the United States and Australia, and that's it as far as I can see. You know what I'm going to do while you talk? I'm going to bring up The Numbers, which is the site that I love, and see what its competition was in 1996. So,
yeah, I mean, I make fun of the Skull Cave, but I thought all the other set designs were great. You know,
well,
and the pacing of the storyline, I at first I was bothered by it, but it wasn't too bad.
Right.
I mean, they set up the Phantom, and then the second act we set up Nick. That Nick's his alter ego Nick is actually known in the city,
right?
And then like all the tie-ins with the daughter and the uncle. I liked the introduction of Billy Zane's character at the dinner party, very Batman-esque. I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Zane. I just keep thinking of a young Trump, like a young smart Trump. Like that totally would be that's the character he's going for. If Trump was young and actually smart.
Yeah.
You know, and had an attitude. Yeah, he knows what he wants. He wants the skulls. He wants to take over the world, man. Yeah.
Well, here is why. I'll tell you exactly why it did garbage at the movie theater. Because the same weekend, The Rock opened up. The same weekend.
All right, so there's your adult audience.
Yeah. So no one went to go see this because they all went to go see The Rock. Then the next weekend was The Cable Guy. Then the weekend after that,
adult film.
Was Eraser with Schwarzenegger, Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame, and both of those made a lot of money. And then the weekend after that was The Nutty Professor and Demi Moore's Striptease. And then everything stopped because the following weekend was Independence Day.
So I think what they were hoping for, because it's a PG film and it's clearly aimed at a general audience.
Absolutely,
it's less graphic. It's less graphic than Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah. You know, when they try to make a movie like this, it's not like they don't have any other source material. I'm not saying they should have stolen from Indiana Jones, but it's like, listen, you have source material. This is what works. Also takes place in the 30s and the 40s.
Well.
You can borrow and you can figure out what works instead of trying to be so true to the source material that it doesn't work.
Thank you. That's really what the problem is, that they remain too faithful, which is a weird fucking thing to say. I mean,
it is a weird thing to say.
Gentlemen, where like everybody's claiming, and I'm telling you right now that there's no way they could have filmed that from the comic book. But so here you have something where it really is, it's from the 30s, so it's definitely not graphic to it. I mean, within reason, there are things that have to be changed a little bit, but I mean, it's definitely. They could have just taken the idea, but I guess they were hoping that there was that's the thing that boggled my mind. Is like, I know when you do this because it has a fan base already in place, like the brand already has traction. But how many people do you know that actually even know the Phantom then or now?
Yeah, no, it's like your grandfather's Sunday paper comic.
Like everybody would recognize them, but I'm sure most people haven't actually read even one or two strips or a comic or something. I believe I might have read one once during my entire comic book career.
I had no idea
maybe
who the fuck the Phantom was until I was forced to go see it in a theater.
See, there you go. And I think that was that and the fact that they went for a PG film, but there really isn't much that I mean, it doesn't look like a PG film in the advertising. Right. I don't think. Like, it doesn't really come across as a kid's film. It comes across as an action adventure film. So, and they had PG-13 by then. They really should have gone PG-13 and have gone a bit more with the violence. Maybe shot a couple people. Right? Even I was like, I said halfway through, so he's got these guns, but he's not shooting anybody. And I don't care about the elevator scene. Whatever. These are useless. So, but then during the pirate scene, I'm like, oh, bam, bam, bam. Oh, I guess he is killing people. And then like, oh, wait, no, he's just shooting all their hands. Oh, it's you there's some death in the film, but it's cartoonish or off screen. and it's definitely only the bad guys. Like when they introduce the daughter and uncle, and Treat knows them, and the uncle's threatening the guy. I'm like, okay, so the uncle's dead, right? And like instead he kills the librarian. He kills the librarian with that weird. What the fuck was going on with the weird microscope contraption?
I don't know.
What was that?
That it was. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
We need to show how evil he is. All right, and it's got to be cool. All right, here's a scene for you. That's it. It's just like wedged in there.
Yeah.
And out of all the people to kill because a reporter's getting onto him, he kills the librarian.
I mean, he's like,
it
I don't.
was a cheesy reveal.
It was. It's like I don't. You know, let me take your glasses so you can look in there. And it's like I don't see anything. He's like, oh, put it in autofocus. And of course, when he gets it enough in focus, he sees the words the word liar, and then you just hear him start screaming, which obviously means that through the lenses of the microscope, 2 knives, daggers, or needles went into his eyeballs.
Well, it was knives because they show him at the beginning of the scene. Remember?
No.
He actually does it before the guy walks in.
Oh, really?
So they show you the knives are in there, and for even the worst Bond villain, too hackneyed.
I must have been half paying attention when that scene happened.
It's more like something they stole from like a Dr. Phibes sequel script that nobody used. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. I don't know. Maybe it's actually from one of the comics. Doesn't mean you have to use it. That's all I'm saying.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I never read one. I'd never seen it. I've never read one single comic for the fan. I've never seen it or read it.
That's why I don't know why they went so big with it. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the opening of the show. We're sitting there. And I paused the film. I told Holly, she'd seen the film before. I've never seen it before.
She's seen it. Oh, okay.
She saw it way back when. She's like, yeah, it's shit. All right.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I had to stop and I said, I got to tell you, I am really enjoying the hell out of him prancing around. Because it's almost...
the Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom. I was like, Billy Zane is prancing around this place. When he first, I just like that first. There's those 2 shots. I just had to keep rewinding them. He's cat-like, but in a totally weird way.
Like if we did audio commentary for it, like MST3K style or cinematic Titanic, riff tracks, whatever the style you want to do. I imagine at that point, one of us or both of us would just start going. I think we would have to do it.
Oh, like the one crouch on the stairs, like and then, but he was very graceful, and I got to say the fight sequences spot on. He's doing his own fight sequences, and it was like well choreographed. It wasn't a lot of jump cuts and shaky cam. That's choreographed fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a lot of, strafe to the left, strafe to the right, punch, kick.
No, you go back. There were some more complicated moves going on there. He's throwing spin kicks. He's got 3 or 4 guys coming at once. I was watching, and it's like a still shot of the sequence. They choreographed that shit.
Well, they had some acrobats. They had some acrobats.
And she's an acrobat, Ted.
They had some acrobats doing some of the stunt work, later on when they're jumping off of things.
Oh yeah.
It's like
the chopper. Yeah.
doing flips and all kinds of stuff.
Again, still a practical stunt effect. Classic, old school. They only use CGI when you really needed it.
Right. Oh, did you notice who played his father? By the way.
I couldn't place him.
I noticed him immediately, and not by his face, but by his voice. I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays the king in Braveheart.
Oh, it was Patrick McGowan. Holy shit! I kept thinking
the guy that throws his son's boyfriend off the ledge.
Okay, because I tell you, when I first saw him, I was like, that Patrick McGowan? And then every time he would get into the light and I'd see his face, like, that's not Patrick McGowan. He got old.
No facial hair though, like none.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm always used to seeing him with some facial hair.
Well, I'm not, because he didn't have facial hair in like The Prisoner and the older stuff. So I'm not used to seeing him old. I watched him when he was young. So yeah, I did. I kept going back and forth. Like, is it him? No, and I'm not looking it up while I'm watching it. That's cheating.
Oh no, I never do it either. I usually can figure it out. I'm like, I don't remember his name, but I know I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. And the first thing that comes to mind for me wasn't even The Prisoner. I figured that out later, but I'm like, oh, that's the King from Braveheart, which makes sense because he only did it the year before he did this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was doing more films around that time. Not a great role in Braveheart. I mean,
no. Well, I mean, it was a great villain role. It wasn't a great. He wasn't a good person.
I mean, I don't know. But yeah, no. Thanks for pointing that out. I forgot about that. I loved David Prozel in
Proval.
here. Proval. I don't know names. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Because I always remember him from our review of Innocent Blood.
Innocent Blood. He was in UHF.
Oh, he's in everything. Yeah, but that's what
He was in
UHF.
The Sopranos. Yeah.
Well, I would.
Oh, with the staples.
See, for someone who doesn't watch a lot of gangster films, I know him very well because he's in a lot of like films that mock gangsters,
like
play on the trope.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah. But he's great in this. I enjoyed the film. Just like Ebert said, it's a kid's film. It was fun. They were put in effort. Is it a great movie? No. I mean, and neither the director or the screenwriter did too much besides this. I think they only both have like 3 or 4 films together.
Oh, really?
So they worked briefly, but they just didn't wow anybody, I guess. And I mean,
they certainly didn't wow anybody.
But I thought the giant rope bridge set piece was well done. I mean, that whole escape piece, it really, what they tried to do, they succeeded. The problem is it's just not something that many people wanted to see.
You know, I can see Ebert giving this a good review because he was, more old school, I think. He probably read the comics or the serials or enjoyed things like that. So he probably was a bit more forgiving.
I don't know. Siskel kept ranting about not wanting to see Billy Zane jump around in a tight suit, and I think that it started getting a little homophobic after the 3rd time he said it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Otherwise, I don't know what his beef was.
But so I remember when Siskel and Ebert would do reviews. Obviously, the big thing for a movie that would really push it was their thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. If a movie got 2 thumbs up, it would really help the film. Because they had a nationally televised TV show. They both wrote for the Chicago newspapers. They were very, very well-respected reviewers. So when they would give it a 2 thumbs up, it would actually help the movie quite a bit. But when they both didn't agree on it, only one did and one didn't, it would just get the lesser thumbs up. And it wouldn't help as much. It didn't help it almost nearly at all. But I always thought it was interesting, and I'm like, oh, one of you guys hated it.
Yeah, but it's I was surprised at Ebert liking it, and I was surprised at me liking it. I'll be honest. I had no hope for this film going into it, and that opening fucking ketchup introduction just pissed me off. I was already in a bad mood. But the minute James Remar, as soon as he hit the screen, I knew I was in good hands.
Just call him Dexter's dad.
Yeah, Quill. Yeah. The minute I saw him, I knew it was in good hands. Like, this is going to be okay. All right. And then, and again, Billy Zane's just very, very charismatic. He's very good.
I still don't like this movie.
I think this was at the peak of his zaneness. I think he was the most zane ever.
He was the zaniest
during this time period.
He was the zaniest.
Yeah, these were the Zane years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Titanic, all that shit, that just pushed him over. Of course, my favorite Zane film is Bordello of Blood, but that's just me.
Wow, what's the one he did with Nicole Kidman where they're on the boat?
Oh, Dead Calm.
Dead Calm. I've always liked Dead Calm.
I saw that when I was probably too young to watch it, or I was younger. but I never really. But Bordello the Blood is the first time when I really clued in on Billy Zane.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw that. I went out of my way to see that because I would get the cable guide, and this is me at like 10, 11 years old. I would get the cable guide.
Dirty boy.
Don't judge me.
I'm judging.
Okay. I would get the cable guide because my parents had a subscription to it. And the first thing I would do is I would go to the back of the cable guide, and it would have a list of every single movie being played on every cable channel that was offered. Everything from HBO to the movie channel, Cinemax, all of it. Showtime, you name it. And I would look at every single movie, and I would look at the rating and the content rating. And I would go out of my way.
We figured it out, Joey.
What? Why are you interrupting me?
I'm sorry, just taking
This
a
is
long time.
this is pretty much a cinematic confession right now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
What I would do is I would look at all these movies and I would find all the ones that had the SSC abbreviation, which stood for strong sexual content. Because I was a fucking horny 10, 11-year-old kid. So I would look at any movie that had that rating, and I would find out when it was on, and I would make sure that I would watch that movie every single time. And Dead Calm had that, and it was for that one scene on the boat with Nicole Kidman. So that was what I would do. That's my little story about Dead Calm. Sorry.
I was roughly 16 when Dead Calm came out.
No, Dead Calm came out in 88.
89.
88? All right.
89.
Even if it was 89, I was how old?
And it wouldn't be on. So it
I was
wouldn't
13.
be on cable. So it wouldn't be on cable to. I'm just saying with the years. So it wouldn't be on cable till 90. So I would be 17 at that point.
And I was 14 then, 13 or 14.
Okay. All right, yeah. Not calling
Even
you a liar.
hornier.
I'm sure you watched it for that. I was watching for the same thing. I'm not no judgment.
Even
like
hornier. If I'm 13 or 14, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
I was way worse.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, porn was not something I could attain. Okay. Movies with the strong sexual content abbreviation is all I had.
This is a rabbit hole we'll both fall into, so we got to back away. We just gotta.
Tell me about your mother.
What? Tell me about Catherine Zeta-Jones. What do you feel about her very minor, stupid character in this film?
Well, I mean, this was at the beginning of her career. She was starting to show up in things, so she was a pretty face that Hollywood was in love with at the time. It's like, we got to start putting her in stuff, and they put her in this, and then they put her in a few more things, and she got really, really famous. When she did the Zorro films, and what was the other one with Sean Connery?
Entrapment.
Thank you.
Yeah, those came out.
I'm bad with movie names tonight. I'm leaning on you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, those came out. Those came out in 98 and 99, so that's just a few years after The Phantom.
Yeah, that's when she started to blow up.
This film didn't hurt anybody's careers, as far as I know.
Her addition to this movie was completely unnecessary. It didn't need to be there.
Oh, yeah.
What it was for was just a female feud. Yeah, like a back and forth. That's all it was really for. It was just for that. So because at the end of the movie they're like buddies.
Yeah, they pull a Tessmacher, and like they make her good, and which you knew was happening the minute she defended her against the pirates.
Right.
You knew it was going to happen the minute they had that little thing in the car with, "What? Don't you care about anything?" And then it's like, okay, so there's an arc here. Which at least
that's what we call
I didn't even think she'd get an arc. I
foreshadowing.
thought she would just be evil and did kill her.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. It was unnecessary, but they wanted it in, so they did it.
Well, yeah. Well, they want everything they wanted in was in.
It was all there.
I think the one thing I would change in the film is I would try to move away from the we have to save the world. And like it actually even uses the same premise, so to speak, as League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It says, oh, it seems like every time they go back to these films, they say, okay, we have to do a big world thing, so let's just have them trying to start a world war before there's a world war. It's like
Right.
I really feel if they had dialed it back and the skulls were just they're just dangerous and he'll hurt a lot of people. That's enough. That's enough.
Right.
He's not the Phantom that has to save the world. He goes after pirates, like real pirates. That's part of his thing. That's where he originates, pirates. So this is like a robber baron or a corporate pirate, so to speak. He's still a villain. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, guys. Please stop making it the end of the world every movie. Because then when your major fight is like in a boiler room, you're like, oh, that felt kind of anticlimactic. Yeah, because it's about the world.
True.
If it had just been about those people, you would have been more involved. But it blows everything out of proportion. Right. What it does.
It's like there's a fourth skull. What? There's no fourth skull.
The ring. Yeah.
Yes, it was the ring. I mean, it's all on the posters and everything, so it wasn't hard to figure out.
And I do like. Actually, I like it and I hate it because they make the big deal about Billy Zane, about the Phantom,
right.
Killing Quill to avenge his own father's death because Quill backstabbed him literally, and having Treat Williams or Mr. fucking Zod, what was his
Drax.
name? Xander Drax. Thank you for putting so many X's in there.
Begins with an X and it ends with an X.
Yeah. His lines were great, and the way he delivered them was great. They wouldn't be half as good.
Well, listen, I mean, I love Treat Williams, and it's obviously why they got him for Deep Rising only a couple of years later. It's just the way he is. He's, when he did Dead Heat, I mean, Treat Williams is great.
That's why I turned to Holly halfway through the film. So I don't care how bad this film is. I can't hate either of these guys. I'm enjoying this.
Things to do in Denver when you're dead. He don't mind much.
Yeah. But the fact that Xander Drax accidentally kills Quill, I thought was both great for just having it's a great way to get rid of the character. But then I hate when they put up a vengeance thing for the hero, and there's like, well, we can't have the hero actually kill somebody, can we? So that's cheap. I don't like it.
Well,
because then what was the hero gonna do? Was he just gonna it's just
you killed my father.
Don't like it.
Yeah, no, it's
you
PG and it's PG, and it was an easy way out for them.
Exactly. So that's why I love it and hate it.
Yeah.
Because they still killed some people. And the only other major complaint I have is when they get the two stones together, and they say when you put the two stones together, they'll show you the direction of the location of the third. And when they do it in the museum, it burns the hole in the map.
Right.
So what was going to happen if they weren't standing in a museum or a room with a map at that point?
That is, you know what? That's a really good fucking point, because what is just going to put a laser beam into the sky and go follow this until just keep holding this for thousands of miles.
It's so stupid that I was actually hoping for like an Indiana Jones thing. It was like, oh, it wasn't actually hitting the map. It went through the wall and pointing that direction. That's where we have to go. It's like, no, it was actually the fucking map. Oh,
that was easy.
So the film wasn't good by any chance, but I found it entertaining, and I didn't hate the time. Again, Billy Zane just made it.
I'm just so happy this thing was only an hour and 40 minutes.
It was longer than I expected.
An hour and 40 is longer than you expected?
Longer than the film gave like the film doesn't present itself as a long film.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I was like, I hope this isn't a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. And then I saw it was an hour and 40, and it was really, say, an hour and 35 without the credits. I was happy.
Honestly, it's probably 10 minutes too long.
There's some fat that could be trimmed on this fucking thing,
but not as much as like say Swordfish. I mean,
Swordfish was a 2 hour movie.
All it would really do is just lop off the beginning. That's it.
You're only saving really 3-4 minutes with that, but yeah.
Well, if I was going to rewrite it, I would make a few more changes. But as far as just like editing the film to change it, I don't think there's much wrong with the editing or the pace or the story. The character arcs are fine. I mean, nothing's really too bullshit. The dialogue's not great, but it's supposed to be that kind of 30s dialogue.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you came out of the gate hating this film, and I was like,
Well, I had already seen it like 25 years ago, and no,
I'm sure my younger self would have hated it, but
So
I guess I'm a bit.
God, 28 years ago, I saw this fucking thing and hated it.
I mellowed out a bit, I guess, because I liked it. Why did I close?
Well,
that?
Yeah, maybe in the beginning of the episode, I said it's worse than I remember. I mean, maybe it's just because I don't remember, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of this movie.
No, obviously. So I think that's interesting. I like when we don't agree in a film.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice change of pace. It gives us something to talk about.
Sure.
So I lost my page. I have to go back again. So as far as rating this film, what would you give it as a rating?
Well, right now it's sitting at a 5.1, I think. Is that
Dead
right?
center, which is where we put our last film.
5. Listen, I don't think it deserves more than a 5. But I know it sounds like you're leaning towards a 6 because you enjoyed it. And I know this movie doesn't deserve a 6.
But I didn't. But like,
I don't care. I don't care if you liked it. It does not deserve a fucking 6, dude.
All right. I can't argue with you. I agree with you that the film doesn't work just based on the concept of the source material and trying to sell it to a modern audience. That alone was a dead sell. So I mean, it never would have got higher than a 6.
No.
Even,
once you start heading into the 6 territory, you're heading into, most people enjoying the film, and you're getting people that didn't say, okay, I didn't really like this part, but it was still enjoyable. It's like, no, that 6 is too fucking high.
22% of people have given it a 5.
That's it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
only 36,000 ratings on this. That's interesting.
That's 8,000 people gave it gave it a 5.
8,000.
I can't disagree with the 5. The only reason I want to give it a 6 is because I feel like they succeeded with, like Treat Williams nailed what he was trying to do, and I feel like there was more thought given to this film than is typical for a film of this nature, and so I feel guilty giving him a 5. But
it's average at best. It's average at best.
What?
I said it's average at best. It deserves a 5.
Like I say, but I can't argue with what you're telling me and what the audience reaction was as well. I mean, really, I'll go with you on that.
Well, I appreciate that, good sir. I'm glad I didn't have to fight you.
No, I'm not going to fight you. This is not the hill I'm dying on.
Okay,
believe me.
good.
But all this means is that if I ever bump into Billy Zane, I will have to apologize to him personally.
Well, listen,
but the odds of that are so.
You know what? I bet you Billy Zane is like, you know what? That wasn't that great.
Yeah, but
Billy Zane's probably like, you know what? I had a lot of fun making that movie, but that movie was a piece of shit. I bet if you got a few drinks in Billy Zane, he's probably going to admit that.
I hate the actors that do that.
What? That they
I
enjoyed making it, but it's crap.
No, I hate the ones that just go back and shit on the films they were in, like say, oh, that was horrible, or like I brought up before with David Spade apologizing for being in what's his face?
What, Grown Ups or something?
Oh, eight heads in a duffel bag.
Oh.
Like he apologized on a show or whatever. It's like, don't do that. Don't be a dick. Somebody liked that film. You made something. Stick by it. You didn't write it or direct it, but you chose to be in it. Don't be in it. I mean, I think criticism's okay, but just being like that blasé about it.
Yeah.
Unless it's your film. If the directors come down and say, yeah, that's a piece of shit, they tore it from me. That's a different thing. But the actor is like trashing everybody else's performance. I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying Billy Zane would do that. I'm saying that he'd probably be like, yeah, it wasn't the best. We tried. I think that would be his reaction.
Yeah, I'm sure as long as I wouldn't be rude about it, I'd apologize. And I'm sure he'd be like, hey, not everybody likes him. Yeah.
Do you think Billy Zane listens to our podcast?
No.
then there's no need to apologize because he doesn't fucking know.
Apologize. I apologize.
All right, so a 5 for this.
5 for this. It's already in.
All right, good. Perfect. All right, so now we have this new thing that we do called the Wheel of Suck. And
Wheel of Suck!
and
Sorry.
we put a bunch of bad movies in there, and we spin this wheel, and we let it pick the next film we're going to review, which I'm actually enjoying. I'm actually enjoying not having to, think of something to... Although, I will say this. We reviewed Antitrust based on it. We reviewed League of Extraordinary Gentlemen based on it. And preferably, there were other movies in that list that I would rather have reviewed. So
right,
you got to take
you got
to take the good and the bad with this scenario.
Well, I actually enjoyed reviewing Antitrust much more than I thought I would because I had conflated it in my head with The Circle.
Yeah, same here.
So that
same
was
here.
fun. But yeah, I'd like to get a little randomness in there. And we're still compiling the list, but I have included good movies as well as bad. Not too many, but what I've really done is just on top of like bad films or horror films or those kind of films, I've also included a number of Best Picture winners from the Oscars.
Cool.
Just to shake it up a bit.
Since
we do them every year now, so it seems silly not to cover some of the older ones.
That is true. So real quick, because I didn't look at your list, you said you included some horror films. I know there's one horror film that comes to mind that we've never reviewed. It's the only film that ever scared me as a kid, and that was Stephen King's Silver Bullet. Did that make it onto the list?
I'm not sure. What we'll have to do is create a Google Doc and have it so we can add stuff to it as we go forward. I should have done that earlier. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so we'll max out
because
the
we can
list
we'll review 10, 20, 30, 50 movies. We remove them from the list and add new ones, obviously.
Right. And I also just want to highlight 2 other things that are special on the wheel. I also have franchise options. So like it'll come up Friday the 13th franchise. If that comes up, we have to review the earliest film in the franchise that we have not reviewed yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
And,
Sweet.
And there is
like that.
one entry, and there is one entry with Scott's choice and one entry with Joey's choice.
So if that comes up, so what we need to do is, now that I know that, got to bring something to the table, have to have something ready. Because if it lands on that, I don't have anything.
Yeah, I didn't. The odds of it coming up tonight are, and we also each get 1 veto roll. 1
veto, okay.
1 veto each, just in case something comes up. Or like, I really don't want to do that right now. That's a little wiggle room, just a little wiggle room, because we're putting a lot of variability into this.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tonight, just because I don't have anything loaded, if Joey's choice comes up, it will be
again.
It will be Silver Bullet, because we've never reviewed it, and I just mentioned it, so we'll see. All right, let me bring that wheel up. I have it ready to go.
All right,
let me do that. Let me put it.
And if you have any suggestions of films that you would like us to add to the wheel, check out our Facebook page or just call us. Our phone number's in the YouTube description, along with our email. You can email us too. Let us know what films we should add, and we'll put them in there. That's right. Within reason.
Of course. And I always do it at the end of the show, but since Scott brought it up, the email address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can go to our website and fill out the form. It'll get sent right to us. Or if you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. If you leave us voicemail, we'll play it on the show.
Yep, and you can find all that information at our website too, Moviesucktastic.com.
There it is. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's spin. Wait till you see what this thing looks like. I had mentioned it to Scott earlier. This thing just looks like a kaleidoscope threw up on my screen. You can't read any of the titles. There's only 102 of the 300 that we can do. When there is the full 300, you can't read what any of this is now. You can't. I mean, you almost can on a couple, but you can't. When there's 300, it looks ridiculous now. Well, that's all I'm going to say. All right, here we go. Wheel of Suck. And it's spinning. I have it randomly picking music.
Give me a win.
It says Child's Play franchise.
All right, we got a franchise one. All right, this is interesting. So,
Look at this.
starting with the first Child's Play, have we reviewed the first Child's Play?
No.
Then that's what we're doing.
Child's Play franchise. Yeah, you can't tell that that's what it's on. Like at all. It
So,
wait do you watch this part of the video? It's like at the 50 minute mark, something like that. What a fucking mess this is.
See, the thing I like about the franchise option on the wheel is that technically that means there's over 300 films on the wheel.
That is it. You're right. You know?
So, yeah, we're doing Chucky, which is good because I've always wanted to go through them all. So this is like the start of doing that.
We've never done any of them. We've never done any of them. So we'll start at the first one. We'll get that one.
And it's still the TV series is still going right now, and I'm pretty sure they're making another Chucky. I thought I heard something about that.
Probably.
They won't stop.
I mean,
they won't stop. They
No.
won't stop.
I think Brad Dourif stopped doing the voice though. I think he stopped doing
he came
that.
back.
Did he come back for the TV show? I could look it up real quick.
I thought he came back when the original director came. I have to look.
Well,
that's a whole fucking universe in itself.
When they did
we'll
the reboot, they got Mark Hamill to do the voice of
that
Chucky.
was bad.
It wasn't good. I was not a fan of that.
No, but luckily we're starting with the first one, and I'm looking forward to watching that again.
Child's Play. There's the 88 film. There's the 2009. Oh, is it just called Chucky, the TV show?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I have it on my Plex.
Yeah, I never bothered. Let's see.
I haven't bothered yet either, but I have it on my Plex.
Brad Dourif is doing the voice of Chucky. Awesome. It's the way it should be.
Yes, it is. That man is a fucking legend.
He's a national treasure.
Yes, he is.
You know, it's funny.
Fuck Bono. He's the one that should be.
So,
did you see someone punch Steve Buscemi?
I saw that. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Like,
I hope they find that guy in a dumpster.
I don't think they're gonna find him because
who punches? They identified him.
Did they?
Who it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. As of yesterday, they identified him, but they weren't able to locate him yet. They were still investigating.
Jesus Christ.
They have a picture of the guy, and he's done this kind of thing before, or I don't, or he has other violent things on his docket. Like,
Buscemi's not going to be coming back to New York for a while.
Okay, are you kidding me? He's born there, born and raised.
No, I know, but it's like, listen, you go somewhere, you're born and raised, you get punched in the face. Why am I going to come back? Well, why am I going to grace my? Why am I going to come here and grace you with my presence? Fuck you.
You leave New York City with a black eye and that's it. You should be grateful, especially
unless he's living in New York right now. I mean, I don't know. He might not be an LA guy. He might be a New York guy.
He might be a New York guy. I don't follow celebrities on that level, so I don't know.
I don't
care where people live.
I
just care what they do on my TV.
That's it. Yeah, I did hear that happened, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Horrible. And Roger Corman died.
I saw that too. Well, he was 98 though.
Yeah. He
Apparently, there's an my boss was telling me there's a great autobiography that he wrote, I think in the 80s.
I have it.
Or the 90s.
I have it.
And he said I should read it. So now I'm interested.
I'll send you a copy. I think I have it on ebook. I'll send you a copy.
I would love. Well, I'm in so much traffic. I listen to a lot of books. So if there's an audiobook of it, that's the way I want to do it.
There might be. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I would love it if there was an audiobook.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, when that news came out, my young millennial or whatever coworker, who?
Oh.
I was like,
fuck
I guarantee you've seen one of his films in your life. You just don't realize it.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying it was a good experience. I'm just saying it happened.
No. It's never, almost never a good experience.
A
bucket of blood and, the original Little Shop of Horrors. I mean,
again, even a stop clock,
You're right. Twice a day. All right, let's go ahead and end this. This was a lot of fun. So next week, we're going to review Child's Play, the original from 1988, which I remember watching that when it came out. And I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's still a film that
What year?
1988.
88. Okay, yeah. So I was.
I was 11.
15.
No, 12. I was 12. 12.
Really?
Yeah,
17,
I was 12. I was born in 76, 88. That's 12. I mean, I might have been 11 going on 12.
Yeah.
When we review it, we'll find, we'll talk about when it was
I thought I was
released.
younger. I was 15. That feels young, like looking back. I got
15?
issues.
I mean, you thought you were younger
Yeah.
than 15 or older?
I was 15.
Yeah.
But it feels like I was like 12 when I saw it.
Oh, yeah, no. I was
Mentally.
12. Mentally.
I'm a late bloomer. I don't know.
Hey, it is what it is.
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up before I start giving away my past.
Well,
It's got some kind of weird confessional.
yeah. I still have the cinematic confession music and all that stuff. Had I known I was
Yeah,
going
we're
to
gonna do
do
that
like a
again.
mini cinematic confession, I would have played the music, the bed behind me. But, excuse me, whatever. All right, everybody. Again, episode 415 of Moviesucktastic. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. It's a brand new website that we've just done. You can listen to the show there. You can download the show there. You can watch the show there. It'll take you right to the YouTube page, and you can watch the show. You can also go to iTunes, and you can download or listen to the show there as well. You can leave us email at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, we'll play that on the show. 908-514-4470. You go to facebook.com/moviesucktastic, and you can see everything that we post there. If you want, you can download our podcast player at moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or download your favorite podcast player and just do a search for Moviesucktastic. We will come right up in there, I promise. And that's all I have. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Ghost who walks cannot die.
All right, everybody. Thank you again, and join us next week when we go live, probably 8 o'clock Eastern time, when we review Child's Play, 1988.
Chucky 1.
The first one, the one that started it all. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.